Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, ArrowFM and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We're gonna stick to the WWE for now, and we're gonna start off on Raw. But we're not gonna just run down the card, because we don't have time for that. So instead, I'm gonna pick out feuds I want to talk about, and I'm gonna pick the 24/7 championship right now, because that's what I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying a lot of what R-Truth is doing.
Yeah. That was fun. Him randomly showing up at the barbecue, crashing it, basically, then running off when they tried to pin him. That was hilarious.
What I'm liking, like, if we're spanning Raw and SmackDown for this, they're merging together. We got the, R-Truth's, like, actually defending the belt in these, like, weird circumstances. Like, he's pinning the other person. His option is, he could just run. He doesn't actually need to pin them.
This is so reminding me of when Crash Holly created the hardcore 24/7 rules. Because it was just so much fun watching him trying to defend the title and run away and stuff. That honestly, in my mind, this is the Crash Holly Memorial Cup.
Okay. I can see it. Like, when you think about the hardcore belts, obviously people will look at, the hardcore people, but if you're looking outside of that, Crash was definitely one of the most entertaining with the belt, definitely. Can't argue that.
Yeah, that super heavyweight is grossly missed.
But we actually got a new champ over on SmackDown.
Yeah, Elias won his first championship.
It's, probably wasn't the belt everybody was expecting for Elias to win the first time round, but it is the one he got for about an hour.
And then he crossed the big dog.
At that point, I would have just not shown up for the main event.
Yeah. And he got speared out of his shoes. And R-Truth became the first two-time 24/7 champion.
And we're back to tossing the belt around. See, like, with any other belt in the WWE, I will sit here and I will complain when we're playing ping pong with it. When we're playing hot potato. This one, it's the whole concept.
That's what this title is designed for.
And it's great. So hopefully WWE can get all of their hot potato playing out on this belt. And then we get some less hot potato with the other stuff. Want to make a guy a champion? Biff him this belt. Want to make a guy 10-time champion? Biff him this belt 10 times.
I expect to see him on TakeOver on Saturday.
Okay.
And I would not be surprised if somebody on the NXT roster ends up winning the title.
I could see it. I think they really want to establish this whole across every brand thing. So I could definitely see it. Yeah. I would be quite interested. But the thing to me, and I'm going to rewind a little bit to when Elias won the belt, is that it was Drew McIntyre that claymored R-Truth. And it was Elias that pinned him. And afterwards, Drew looked a little bit miffed. He wasn't too happy. And it seems at the moment, obviously, Shane McMahon's got his backup, which is Drew and Elias. But I don't know if this is Drew and Elias planting some seeds for a little bit of resentment in there. Leading to a breakup, or just pointing out that Drew really wanted the belt himself, or maybe somebody's gonna do some turny backy flips.
I really don't know.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. Because it's Drew McIntyre, only reason I'm mentioning it. But I don't play favorites, so. Talking about not playing favorites, we come over to Raw, and we get a lovely match with the Iconics. Don't talk about the winner or the match ending, but the Iconics did go up against the Raw Women's Champion and Nikki Cross.
Definitely had shades of that rock and sock connection between the Raw Women's Champion and a very excited Nikki Cross.
Yeah, it was a good pairing between the two. The straight man and then the absolutely insane person.
Unfortunately, things did not get better for the Iconics either.
No. What are you about to tell me?
Well, they lost and didn't show up on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And had to watch the the SmackDown Women's Tag Champion, the former tag team champion, absolutely dominate on that show in a tag team match.
Yeah. It was, yeah. The Iconics are champions. Sometimes you forget that. They do exist, and they are champion. Deal with it. For now. I'm gonna jump back to Raw. Raw had a lot going on. Like, a lot of not wrestling. It
had a 30-minute opening.
Yeah. I think someone said in the first hour there was, like, 6 minutes of wrestling. There was just a lot.
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but yeah, it did towards the end seemed like, is this over yet? We're dragging a little bit here. I love Kofi, I love Seth. I really, really loved beatboxing Brock Lesnar, which doesn't seem like it would work, but for some reason, it works.
It turned, like, the entire internet from being deadly against Brock to being indifferent or glad to see him.
Yeah, obviously he's having fun with this, and so he's engaged and he's doing something.
But he doesn't look up the rules of the contract that he won.
Well, I guess he was gone for a while. I mean, the contract was instituted after he left the first time.
Yeah, but he's held the belt while other people have had the briefcase, right? Surely.
Yeah, but he's never been in the match, I guess I can understand why he wouldn't have known that he would have had a year to cash in. But that was hilarious.
Just Paul Heyman screaming, like, it's always been a year. And just, like, having this argument with Lesnar. And then he's like, oh, if I've got a year, I'm not doing it now. Goodbye. And you're like, that just made sense.
The truth is, he was pissed because he showed up on 2 weeks in a row that he didn't need to.
Would he be pissed, though? Because he making that sweet appearance money. And I'm sure we will see him in the next few weeks. I don't remember when Super Showdown is.
It's next Friday.
We'll see him then.
I don't think we will.
We won't see him then. Will we see him or won't we see him?
I think we will see Paul Heyman.
Okay. I think we're going to see a lot of Paul Heyman.
He goes away for a couple months, so we forget he has the briefcase.
Okay.
And then he shows up sometime close to SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think that Brock Lesnar will cash in after, like, a month or two of not being on TV. Whether that's SummerSlam, Survivor Series, another event down the line, if he is actively on TV, he is not a threat to cash in. It is when he starts disappearing and going into the shadows, that's when you should worry about a Brock Lesnar cash in if you're Kofi or Seth. But Shane McMahon, opening match of Raw, going up against a member of Roman Reigns' family just to rub it in his face.
Yeah, it was his cousin who is Samu's son?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
No, I think Samu has cancer too. Okay. Which I saw it's kind of nice of WWE to book Lance so that they'd have that appearance money for the treatment and stuff. Mm-hmm. Overall, wasn't that bad. Just, it was what it was. It was obviously just to get under the skin of the big dog.
And it did that. Obviously continuing along towards this whole Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon hullabaloo in the Super Showdown. We got a absolute banger for the second week in a row with Ricochet and Cesaro.
Oh yeah. This match was insane. And now that they are 1-1, I have two questions in my mind.
Is one of them winner the next 5 matches?
Partially. One of them is, are we going to see a winner-take-all thing next at, I guess the Saudi show? Mm-hmm. Assuming they're both going.
Don't know.
Or are we going to see 5 matches, not have an outcome, and create another tag team?
Best of 7. Best of 7. I don't know, to be fair, Cesaro with someone to bounce off of is one of the best entertainers they've got. And then these two in the ring are two of the best wrestlers that they've got. If you want to play to everybody's strengths, then yes, a tag team suits here. Cesaro, though, might not want it, coming straight off the bar stuff. Ricochet also coming straight off the Aleister Black. Not as long of a tag team run, but coming off of a tag team run as well. I could see that playing into the feud if they are eventually going to team up, to be like, oh, you were a tag team guy a month ago, I was a tag team guy a month ago, let's get together.
Yeah, but I think this is more about establishing Ricochet beyond just being a human highlight reel.
Because that's easy.
Yeah, I mean, he does that by himself.
The one and only.
But, and I think it's also partially about re-elevating a singles Cesaro as well. I mean, he does have his own theme now.
That's just a swerve. They're going to team him up, and you're going to love it.
I probably would, but I just think it's probably for the best if they keep them separate and just maybe do just a blow-off.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? Like, both of these guys, as I said, are two of the best wrestlers they've got. They can both absolutely go as singles competitors. The combination of them makes for absolute bloody good matches against
I've got an idea.
Okay, let's go with your idea.
We know that next week Rey Mysterio is coming to relinquish the United States Championship on Raw. Have a tournament to crown a new champion. The finals, Cesaro versus Ricochet.
Okay.
Winner takes the championship.
There you go. You put some stakes on that third match, didn't you? Not some weights, though, or else heavy machinery would show up. After that, I'm just going to move on to our song. I got nothing. I'm laughing at my own joke, and I feel really bad at that. We, this week, are going to acknowledge AEW's Double or Nothing show, and pick the theme from that show. We're hoping, depending on when the weekly show starts, and how well it takes off and everything, that we may look at covering them in the future once they've launched their weekly show. As for their pay-per-view shows, we just don't have the time to really get through two promotions. So, fingers crossed when the weekly comes out, we'll see what can happen. But for now, you're going to be listening to the theme song from AEW's Double or Nothing pay. And you're back with a Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and you were talking about the United States Championship. I don't think Samoa Joe's finished with it, though.
Yeah, he definitely thinks it's still his. And in a way, he's technically right, because he didn't technically lose it. But that's why I wanted to see like a tournament or something to crown the new one, even if it doesn't end up being Ricochet versus Cesaro.
Yeah, maybe it's the opener. Winner faces Joe. Not much of a prize, I'll be honest.
But it would definitely lend some credibility to the next champion, whoever it is, if they were to go through a tournament to win it, rather than just having a random match be crowned the champion, which will probably end up being the announcement next week, that they'll probably just say, Joe versus X, winner becomes champion.
Like, if you look at that, the potential tournament there, right? Obviously, Joe has put his stake in the ground. He's there. You've also got, as we say, Ricochet and Cesaro that can pop in. And then you just look at the losers for the number one contendership as well. You know, Braun Strowman, Miz, Bobby Lashley, no reason they can't appear. More of that upper mid-card talent, but yeah.
Yeah. So Cedric Alexander,
Eric Young,
Drew McIntyre. The list goes on and on and on. Top Raw talent that could be put in that tournament.
Sami Zayn.
The Sami Zayn.
There's so much just upper mid-card and mid-card talent at the moment And with the United States belt being stuck in this feud that's just had, like, injury and injury and injury and being cursed, it needs a fresh go. And I don't know if that fresh go is to give it back to Joe and let him pick a new challenger and continue that way, or if it is completely and utter new champion, and then let's go. Because to be fair, Joe's probably in that upper mid-card with a lot of these guys as well, in terms of he would look credible if he went up against the Universal Champion right now as a competitor. So he's not a lower card guy. Like, the way I'm talking about him, I feel like I just did him a disservice.
Yeah, WWE totally needs to do Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins. Yeah, there is a lot of possibilities that you could do with this title, and you have the 24/7 title running around, so you don't have to worry about elevating anyone in the lower card either.
You're kind of lucky in that this 24/7 title across both brands is going to be covering, as you say, all of the lower card guys, and the lower card and the unused mid card will pretty much just be entirely used up with the 24/7 championship. You know, I'm talking about like Elias being that sort of unused mid-card type guy. Titus, I would say more lower card, but Bobby Roode, or Robert Roode, sorry. Unused mid-card there. Plenty of options. Before I get on to the electric chair segment, I just had a question in my head, and it took me a few seconds to answer, so I'm just going to ask you the question, see how quickly you can answer. Who's the Raw Tag Team Champions?
That's still Hawkins and Ryder.
Yeah, that took me a while to think about the answer to that question. That's not a good thing.
I don't want... Because I don't like Ryder, I still know that he's a champion.
Fair enough. That resentment is in your head. I don't know who's going to be taking that anytime soon. I thought we were leading to the Viking, whatever they're called now. But they're also off Raw this week, so hey. So I don't know what's happening in the Raw Tag Team division. It looked like it was getting bolstered, and then just sort of fizzled. In fact, I don't think there was any men's tag team wrestling this week on Raw for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's because all the tag teams were out hanging out with Jimmy and Jey Uso.
That is a lovely storyline way to say it. But yeah, I don't know what's happening in the Raw Tag division, other than the fact that Ryder and Hawkins are still holding on to the belts. And as you say, you hate Ryder having a belt, and I love seeing Hawkins have a belt, but I'd like to see them actually defend it. And probably lose them, because they are mid-card at best. So let's get on to this electric chair segment. A little bit grim of a name and concept, but we put Sami Zayn in the electric chair, and then made him answer questions from the fans.
Yep.
Aren't we so interactive?
Yeah, the second you saw Izzy, you knew they were all planted fans.
I don't know what you're talking about, but yes. This segment is going to be forever known, and I don't know if we're going to have future ones, but this will be forever known as the segment where Sami Zayn mentioned AEW. Which
apparently was not, was scripted. It was apparently planned.
There is a lot of arguments over that.
In all honesty, I wouldn't put it past them.
No, I could see it both ways. That's why I believe both the rumor that it was planned and the rumor that it was unplanned. I believe both.
Honestly, I think it was planned. They have no reason to fear AEW despite the internet's belief.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're swimming in a cash-filled pool right now.
Yeah, they've got plenty of it.
So, and AEW's success can only help WWE. It can't hurt WWE.
Oh, but they gon' take all their wrestlers.
That's exactly why they have a dozen people that can replace anybody they lose in NXT.
Yeah. To be fair, and I know most of these people are locked down into fairly longer contracts. The short term, I really only see Moxley, who's over there already, obviously. Maybe the Revival, and maybe Sasha Banks, in terms of like who hangs out with the Elite constantly, or enough that I believe that they would curry enough favor to jump over there, but I'm pretty sure Sasha's in a contract for like another 2 years, and I think the Revival might have another year or something as well.
Yeah, they have at least a year and a half, and they have that dreaded injury time too.
That lovely time.
I guess Luke Harper, could technically be somebody who could disappear and go to AEW in like a year after his contract's over.
After his injury freeze.
Yeah. Although I saw a hilarious joke online saying that he was so mad about the AEW mess. Vince was so mad about the AEW moment. He added 6 more months on to Harper's contract.
Yeah.
That was an hilarious joke. So yeah, there are people who could jump.
Everybody seems to be talking about it, though, in a sense of like, oh, well, anybody on the WWE roster could jump. But I feel like AEW are going to be more selective than, like, 2010 TNA. And I'll probably have that year wrong. But people get the sentiment. And in terms of, like, Mike Kanellis was talking about, like, their contract up. I don't see them being picked up.
Yeah, I could possibly see him, but I'd see him more likely to go back to Ring of Honor. And, but yeah, that's the thing. AEW, they don't want to be WWE Light. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be TNA Part 2.
TNA was already TNA Part 2. They've gone through like 10 parts.
But, which is why the whole thing with him destroying Triple H's quote-unquote chair blew my mind, because that's the kind of thing you don't want to do if you want to stand out, as we're not WWE. We're not caring about WWE. We're our own thing. Let's be us. But yeah, they took a shot at WWE.
Yeah. I see a lot of positive and negative on that. At the moment, it's kind of hard to see any negative AEW comments on the internet, because everybody's just sitting in a circle playing tiddlywinks. But yeah, there's still even some comments from the AEW, they need a better acronym for me to say quickly, fans who are like, they could have just not. They could have just not done the anti-WWE thing.
And you know, I've had people talk about the championship belt. Like, it was such a grand design thing, and that WWE needs to take notes. That title is just a knockoff IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I have no reply.
That's exactly what it is. It's a slightly smaller, slightly different shaped, but exactly the same as the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I'm nodding along, but we're in radio, so they can't see it. But if I'm looking at all the ex-WWE guys that AEW have at the moment, they have Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, a.k.a. Dean Ambrose. I'm not sure about Neville, a.k.a. Pac. He's sort of in, sort of not. We'll have to wait and see.
I would say at this point, he's out.
Yeah.
He's all out.
That's my gut.
Because he has this weird thing where he just doesn't want to play nice with anyone. Unless he's getting his way.
Yeah. And Goldust, a.k.a. Dustin Rhodes. And Cody, I guess, as well.
Technically, Kenny Omega.
Technically. We don't need to get technical here, okay? I'm going with people who will be known as WWE superstars.
Hey, he was in development. Still counts.
Okay, so you counting Blue Pants too, then? I mean, the Liberian?
Yeah, I count Leva Bates.
And I'm not sure about Karma, a.k.a. Awesome Kong. Showed up. Don't know if she's on contract.
Was there for like 2 months. Disappeared. Well, I will say no, because she didn't actually have a match. Other than the Royal Rumble.
Okay. I think most of the... Like, that was a very small amount of their roster. It's like 5 to 10% of their roster. It's mostly their backstage team that is like, you know, Justin Roberts, Jim Ross, Billy Gunn, Dean Malenko, Jerry Lynn. There's so many guys here who are like behind the scenes really good at what they do. And I'm interested to see what they do in a different atmosphere than the WWE. When, you know, they're back to booking that weekly show. Let's see what they do.
That's the thing I'm looking most for, is that weekly show.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
that's going to be do or
not,
die.
Vince McMahon has to answer not just to the fans. He has to answer to every sponsor who sponsors on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He has to answer to stockholders. He has a lot more people that he has to answer to than just the people who watch the show.
Yeah.
And they're fixing to find this out in whenever the show airs.
Mm-hmm.
That they will have people they have to answer to. They might not have to answer stockholders because they're not going to be a public company. But they will have to answer to whoever buys the ad slots for the show. They will have to answer to more than just Tony Khan.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's all we have the time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingHourRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingHourRadio, and we'll see you all next week.